Confetti Covered Quicksand, Chapter 9. An annoying chapter of name-dropping. It was the spring of 1995, and I was hanging with long-haired brunette Charlie and her rich friends. At one point, Scott Kahn of Ocean's 11 was going to clubs with us. I think she knew him from school or something. He was cocky and bold, and he liked the pretty girls, no doubt. She was also friends with that guy Seth, a.k.a. Shifty Shell Shock, from the band Crazy Town, very 90s and early 2000s. He was not full of tats then. He was a cute little baby-faced kid who wore a Frank Sinatra type of hat and would always book it to the dance floor when he heard the DOC's "It's Funky Enough." Funky. Anyway, there was a point in time when we were hanging with Danny Boy from House of Pain and a few of the guys from Cypress Hill because Charlie was dating one of their friends or something. I don't remember where they lived or which of their houses I was at because I was pickled in vodka, but I think a few of them shared a place. I can't remember. I just remember it was a nice house in earth tones and they were polite and pretty normal. I still have a pair of House of Pain sweats that one of them gave me that I wear when I'm on the rag. I should really remove that. I remember running into Stephen Baldwin at Grandville. He was always in a jovial mood, and he once shoved a bunch of dollars in my cleavage. I took them and bought myself a drink. I also recall seeing Leonardo DiCaprio at all of the after-hours/underground clubs. We saw him around quite a bit. He wasn't all that big just yet, but he was big enough to bring a bodyguard with him. He kept talking to Charlie one night, and I couldn't tell what he was saying over the loud thumping music. I just saw him talking in her ear as she moved her long, shiny, dark hair to the side. She came over to me afterward and told me he was trying to set her up with his big, red-headed bodyguard. She was like, no. And while I am on the subject of name-dropping, I might as well tell you about the night at The Room, formerly Bar One, when an A-list movie actor and former underwear model and his friend, a B-list television star with dimples, tried getting Charlie and me to go home with them. A-lister wanted Charlie and B-lister wanted my sorry ass, and they had a bungalow at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and we were supposed to meet them there. We were totally intrigued and we wanted to go, but we knew they expected to sleep with us, so we were scared. We drove up to the bungalow before they got there, and we looked in the window. You can park on the side where the bungalows are, by the way, and kind of look over there. It's kind of just open. We saw champagne in a bucket of ice, and we peeled out of there as if our pants were on fire. Journal entry, April 20th, 1995. I'm depressed today. I have been all week. Max won't call me because I wouldn't sleep with him the other night, and I was getting along with him just fine, and then he started bringing it up over and over again. When are we going to hook up? When are we going to hook up? It was so awkward and uncomfortable. Is this what these normal people are like? Anyway, I'm afraid to screw this up by sleeping around and getting a reputation. I have to be very careful because these people talk a lot. Hung out with Jason Bateman last night in the V.I.P room at The Gate. I used to love him when I was in 4th grade, and he was Derek on Silver Spoons. I was so not into Ricky Schroeder. I was all about Jason Bateman. Anyway, at first, he was a big prude. He wouldn't drink with us, and he wouldn't go out onto the dance floor. He said he didn't dance. He told us some sad tale of being laughed at during his prom over his dancing skills or something like that. And I swear not a half an hour later, after he made that statement, he was doing shots with us and dancing to Double Dutch Bus. He let Bertie put lip gloss on him, and he sat there intrigued while she applied it with the little wand. He ended up hanging out with Pauly Shore, and together they tried to pick up on any girl that walked by. The car dealership just called for Poppy. She drove home a brand new Mazda RX-7 the other day, even though she has no job. I'm not kidding you, she got a ride to the car place and came back with the car. There was even a fruit basket in the back. Don't ask me how she did that. By the way, she had a job, but just not one on the books. I should put that in my book. Journal entry, April 21st, 1995. Now I'm wondering if that car Poppy brought home was for a test drive. She's been gone with it for 3 days, and the dealership keeps calling for her. Maybe she's trying to come up with the money. A very famous basketball player from the Lakers picked her up on Sunday to go out. Everyone in our building was freaking out. I'm supposed to hang out with Max at his house tonight. I have to try and get out of doing anything with him, and I wonder how it will go. Being there alone with him at his house is not going to be good. He had a roommate there last time. I have to try not be a tease. I don't know how to do all of this. Journal entry, April 23rd, 1995. Okay, the Max thing is now over. In short, we went to the movies. He paid for himself, on discount no less by showing his student ID, guess he's in college, and not for me. Luckily, I had $10 on me, and normally I have no money at all when I go out. We held hands throughout the movie, some submarine movie I had no interest in, and it was weird for me. I've never been on like a real date like that, you know? In Hollywood, it would be a group of people sitting up at Errol Flynn's old estate, drinking room temperature Jim Beam, and passing around a room temperature liter of cola. And when I say Errol Flynn's estate, I'm referring to the one that burned down, not some actual mansion. I'm talking about Runyon Canyon, but we called it Errol Flynn's. We literally sat outside in the pitch dark at 3 in the morning, on an abandoned patio next to a swimming pool surrounded by hills, dirt, and trees. I was hanging with the big clump of musicians and dancers, and we would all go from party to party. You wouldn't know that by looking at me now in my Angora sweaters and baby colors. I don't know how to talk to kids. I don't know how they do this, the date thing. It's scary. What do you say to each other? Well, how do you talk to a guy like sober? It really terrifies me. Anyhow, we went back to his house, and he was all nervous and insecure and scared to put the moves on me because he didn't want to get shot down again, I guess. He kept making jokes about how we haven't done it, and it made me feel bad. Guys in Hollywood never talked about it like that. They would never say things like, are we going to do it or not? Or hound me like that. Some have hounded me to kiss them, but I was never hounded to do that in such a way, even with the biggest man whores on the planet. I wonder if all regular guys are like this. It's very uncomfortable. Anyway, after all of that bitching, Max said it was okay with him that I wasn't giving it up, but that he was going to move on because he was young and he wanted to have fun. I swore I would have done it already had he not made such a big deal about it. He tried to be cocky after all that, and he said, I know you want me to call you again. And I was like, no, I don't. But of course I secretly did. I'm now on the phone with Missy, and here's what she says. Liesl and I just bought steaks and artichokes. I need to light the broiler. We're going to the beach tomorrow. Oh, I love this yogurt. It's the best. You should come over and have Liesl read your cards. You should. She does them really good. Oh, it sounds like something just exploded in the oven. Okay, I'll call you when we're done eating, and she'll read your cards. Journal entry, April 29th, 1995. I never went to Liesl's to have my cards read. I'm too scared of that sort of thing. But Bertie went over there and kept asking Liesl to ask the cards if she were going to die young, which Liesl says she wasn't supposed to answer according to her tarot books because it's unethical or something. You aren't supposed to predict the 4 Ds. But Bertie kept bugging her, and guess what card she pulled 3 times? I don't even want to say because it scares me. I went to the beach with Bertie yesterday. Weather wasn't so great. Walked by some skinny teenage boys and decided they had better get us stoned. Bertie says she can tell by looking at people who has pot and who doesn't. These boys ended up having it, so we got inside their van next to some surfboards, got stoned, and left. We just got back here and tried to order a large pizza to Scarf and Barf, but they didn't take checks. And it's probably better because I went to Sizzler with Missy last night and wolfed down my whole plate in 5 minutes and threw it up. She said, what's the point? When I went in the bathroom to throw up, some other girl had just finished barfing herself. I saw the remnants floating in the water when I went to do the same thing. Only in LA do we wait in line to throw up instead of pee. Today I'm starving, but I have a gut, so I'm carefully taking my water pills 4 hours apart. I took 2 at once one time, and I looked in the mirror, and I screamed. The water around my eyeballs was gone, and they were sunken in. I looked like an old man with pop eyes. Last night I was told I was rude twice. I've been praying that I can be nicer. I don't want to be this kind of person. Journal entry, April 30th, 1995. Bertie is in San Diego doing some photo shoot. Poppy is in Vegas, probably making some rent. Missy is tanning in Malibu, and Charlie is at her big house in the hills, probably smoking a cigarette on the front porch with her cordless phone in her hand. Birdie just called and is telling me about the photo shoot. Here's what she says. I had so much fun today. It was like a big studio overlooking the city, like all white. It was like so much fun. I'm going to wear those hoochie shoes and stretch pants tonight. I was going to stop by your house last night, but most people don't like it, so I didn't. Oh my God. We should go to the beach tomorrow. We need to get tan. I mentioned that someone had to be the sober one if we went out, because it was scary when both of us are too wasted, and she said, no one has to be sober. What's that all about? What's up with that? Journal entry May 13th, 1995. Today at work, I heard my manager, Howard, say, "Who's this guy? Marilyn, is this your guy?" And I heard her say, "No." Then I looked up and saw Max seated at a table staring at me with a huge smile. I said, "No, that's mine." And Howard said, "Look at that shit-eating grin." I looked at him over the counter and I squinted, shook my head, and walked away. I ignored him the whole time, and thankfully, there was no room in my section, so he and his friends had to sit somewhere else. I finally went over there with my hand on my hip and a snotty look and said, "What are you doing here?" And he said, "What, I can't eat? I can eat wherever I want." I said, "Fine, have a good time." And I stormed off. He was there for an additional hour, and I didn't even look at him once. All this guy wants to do is to be able to point me out to his friends and say he slept with me, which he didn't. Charlie says Be Real from Cypress Hill is asking about me, even though he's dating Carmen Electra. Birdie and I were hanging out with them the other night in a VIP room. I could never stop staring at Carmen. She's so tiny and pretty, and she wears pink and fake lashes. There's nothing worse than someone else looking better in your look than you do. Poppy painted the living room peach and bought a big screen TV. I let her have free reign of that room because she doesn't really have a space of her own, and I felt bad. But peach? And pictures of wolves? As long as she doesn't put up any dream catchers, I'll be okay. What do I care? I'm in bed watching Sweet Valley High with a headache. We went to her plastic surgeon's place for dinner last night, and guess what happened? He drugged us. I had one glass of wine and I could barely walk. You should have seen us trying to drive through the winding streets of Beverly Hills in the dark. It was so dangerous. Journal entry May 14th, 1995. Guys were hitting on me a lot last night. One said, "Are your eyes real? Are your lips real? Are you real?" And someone else called me the finest in L.A. But don't worry, 2 guys called me fat. This is L.A. You're always too fat here. I'm in a weird transition period right now. I always want to feel powerful, intimidating, and sexy. When I was very young, I made myself do things I didn't want to do because I thought it was the norm. Then I got a boyfriend, and luckily avoided a slew of men in Hollywood. But in the back of my mind, even during that time, I thought women had to be swinging from the chandeliers naked, doing 10 backflips and landing on a dildo in a tub of baby oil to be sexy, but it isn't so. Journal entry August 12th, 1995. Poppy's phone conversations are hilarious. Right this minute, she's walking around with her cordless, telling some car dealer, "I don't care about convertibles. I just want a Corvette. I'm not interested in a Miata or anything else. A convertible is not the issue. I will actually take any color Corvette, except gold." Yesterday, she was babbling about her escort service that she ran last year. She said she would take the dinner or jacuzzi jobs and send the wilder girls out for stripping. Well, she said, it was supposed to be stripping, but the guys know what's up. Whatever the girl chooses to do after she walks in the door is up to her, you know? I have a fucking headache from the 3 coffees I slammed in order to wake up for work. It has been exactly 1 year since the O.J. Simpson murders. That shit has taken over. The trials are on every day, and the news talks of little else. I talked to Abby on Saturday, my old buddy from high school. She didn't stay on the phone very long because she thought I was totally sketchy. She said, "You're talking so fast. You're all over the place." I think it's because she now lives in North Carolina, so I sound very speedy in comparison to slow southern draws, maybe? Draws? She always makes me feel like I'm nuts. Poppy is in the room now talking to me about how she's going to have her Corvette and her jaw fixed within the week. I'm so sick of hearing about that jaw, I should break the damn thing with a left hook. Then she can have a real reason to fix it. Journal entry. This is out of order, you guys. Journal entry June 15th, 1995. Bertie and Poppy have been going on drunken rampages. I encourage them to go off together, so I won't be pressured to join either of them. Anthony was rushed to the emergency room last night because he was throwing up blood nonstop. It was everywhere. Vomiting up pints of blood is not normal, and I'm kind of worried. I have goosebumps. The weather is ugly, and I'm listening to love songs, which is the only thing they play at night. I just ate some pasta, and I read as much of the new Vogue as I could bear without being simply bored out of my mind. I need to digest this food so I can put on my black Everlast sports bra and go running up in the hills of Sherman Oaks. I'm looking at my makeup box. There are white, sparkly lip gloss tubes and bottles of light pink and white nail polish, little round jars of concealers and blush. There's a basket nearby holding a pile of magazines, Vogue and Cosmo. I have a big round mirror that sits on the ground and a little makeup mirror in front of it. There are 2 bottles of Clinique astringent in thick glass bottles with light green caps, flat wide bottles of pale green Victoria's Secret lotion, and little deep blue bottles of hair laminator. My bag from last night is thrown next to my bed. I spent the night at Charlie's after going to the tea room and seeing no one interesting. My room has ceramic angels, antique lamps, many black and white vintage photographs, old books, and little trinket boxes. There are shirts of pale lavender, baby blue, and light pink on the floor. My bed has white sheets and a fluffy white pillow, and my walls are lavender, and so is my comforter. Charlie came over here last night while Poppy and Bertie were getting ready. They were trying on different outfits and different shoes, fiddling with their hair and complaining about their makeup. Charlie was in her work clothes from Pow Pow, and I had on an Adidas t-shirt and men's boxers. We were just staring at the fuss, even though we had done the same thing countless times before. Bertie put on some black clogs and asked, "Are these okay?" with a sincere look on her face. She had perfectly smudged black eyeliner and one eyebrow up. Charlie, "They aren't bad, but there are better." Me, "You need some combat boots with that outfit." Poppy, "Alcohol's making me swell up." Bertie, "Are your neighbors downstairs home?" "I need to use their mirrors." Charlie and I walked outside to her car. "There's so much glamour going on," she said. Journal entry June 16th, 1995. Poppy and Bertie just got home from last night, wearing the same clothes. Bertie's makeup was all over her face, smeared over one eye. She told me my skin looked really good. I downplayed the compliment by complaining that I had bags under my eyes. Right now they are on the couches in the living room, crashed out. They said they did not have much fun last night. They said it was okay. I'm going to interview them. Here it goes. Me, Poppy, what did you guys do last night? Poppy, where to begin? I don't know the name of the club we went to. What was the name of the place? Me, no cute guys? Poppy, no cute guys, all prostitutes, but there was one good thing. Me, what? Poppy, the drinks. Me, how much did you guys drink? Poppy, half a bottle of wine, 2 whole glasses of Jägermeister, and smoked some weed, and then we drank a beer on the way home in the car. After we got to our next destination, I had a screwdriver and Bertie had a shot. Me, where did you guys sleep? Poppy, if I have to answer that, you'll faint. You'll kill me. Me, but it's for the interview. Poppy, I slept next to Michael from Alley Cat Scratch all night long, and he was a gentleman. Journal entry June 18th, 1995. It is sunny and birds are chirping. The sky is blue. It is summer in the valley once again. Most of my memories of summer are pretty good, but I will never forget that one year. I think it was 1985. Things were tense and scary around the valley because there was a serial killer on the loose. They called him the Night Stalker. He wore AC/DC shirts, and he murdered people, and he drew stuff on the walls with their blood. I had never heard of anything so horrible, and I slept with a hammer in my bed. He was breaking in through unlocked windows, so we had to keep our hours shut even though it was super hot at night. He had killed some people in Northridge, which bordered our city, so we were scared shitless. I think it was the first time I had a real worry, a real fear. Usually, parents tell you everything is going to be okay and not to worry. But my mother was going around and locking all of the windows, and I knew it was serious. Charlie turned 21 on Thursday. We went out for sushi, and all her Valley friends who rather make me uncomfortable were there. We drank tons of champagne, and she opened a bunch of presents and a black silk dress, laughing and spilling drinks on herself in front of her parents. A bunch of cameras were flashing. The night before that, we went to the gate. Some man ordered us a bunch of chocolate-covered strawberries and champagne. And the morning before that, we lounged by her pool with some of her other friends. We ate sandwiches, and we floated on pink rafts in the clear blue water. Her mother brought us a big crystal bowl of cut watermelon, and the dog ended up eating it. Later, I took a nap on her white, down-filled feather bed. I swear I sunk down a foot when I laid down. I wish I had a bed like that. Later on that night, we got really stoned off of a 3-inch joint before going out. Yesterday, we went to the beach and laid in the sun, waves crashing in the distance, the smell of coconut on our skin, boombox blasting TLC, and songs from the Friday soundtrack. Max called me and tried hooking me up with his sneaky-looking friend Andrew. Actually, Andrew was charming and attractive, but he still looked sneaky. I made the mistake last weekend of saying to Andrew, "Well, what's up with you?" Anyway, Max tried getting me to go over to his house and hang out with them. And that doesn't even sound correct, hanging out with 2 guys at a house. I told him I had to go running that very instant. My neighbor says he was testing me to see if I would hook up with any of his friends. I finally saw my mom and my grandmother. I was nervous when they came over. I didn't want them to think ill of me, so I was trying to prove I wasn't some wild person. And guess what happened? First of all, Gabriel, Anthony's friend, walked out in a fucking towel. Then Poppy came in to grab something and had a porn star with her whose boobs are like an F cup. My mom and my grandma were like, what is going on around here? I shut my eyes and shook my head like, can you guys please get the fuck out of here and let me try to look normal in front of my family? I used to love going to my grandmother's house. It was always dark inside, even in the daytime. And when I walked in, her eyes beamed, and she always said the same thing. Hi, da! Gimme un bacio! Which translates to a kiss in Italian. I would run and kiss her, smelling her rose-scented hand lotion. She was quiet, sweet, and beautiful, and always wore dark fuchsia lipstick and smoked Parliament cigarettes. I love the smell of them even today. I know, it's crazy. She used to seem very glamorous to me and my sister. We always stared at her pictures from her modeling days at Eastman Kodak. She was in hula skirts and sailor suits with painted-on red lips and very arched eyebrows. We would sneak into her room and look through her big white leather jewelry box full of delicious costume jewelry. Long pearl necklaces, drop rhinestone earrings, brooches, and other pins in little satin Chinese bags. She had a lipstick holder on her vanity tray that was a ceramic bust of a girl. It held cherry red and deep pink lipsticks and heavy gold applicators. She had large perfume bottles on her vanity as well, White Shoulders, Youth Dew, and some others. She also had a shelf of ceramic piggy banks. There was a bubbly, pale pink one with its eyes shut and a little smile, a small baby blue one with eyes that looked off to the side, and a big, terrific white one, a perfect sphere with little painted hooves and a nice thick cork in his nose. I secretly named all of them and wanted to play with them, but I knew I was not allowed. Dark pink roses will always remind me of my grandmother. She loved growing roses in her beautifully kept yard, along with begonias and geraniums. There was a strawberry patch under her orange tree, and the berries would get warm in the sun. She loved watching the birds, namely hummingbirds. It makes sense to me now, because she was as delicate, beautiful, and as quiet as a hummingbird most of the time. I wonder what she thinks of me now.